Hello there engineers, and welcome to another video for Prompt Geek. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can actually put your face into any Stable Diffusion image with just one photo. In fact, I'm going to show you how you can do it with anybody's photo. This technique of course can be used to create consistent characters in Stable Diffusion, and if you'd like to learn how to do that, please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and watch to the very end. So let's get into it. Now the first thing that you're going to need to do is actually download Visual Studio. You could do that using the link below. It's visualstudio.microsoft.com. Go to free Visual Studio. The version that you'll need is Visual Studio Community. You press free download, and then you're going to just download that to your hard drive. Install it, and then we're ready to move on to the next step. In Stable Diffusion, you need to then go to Extensions, Available, Load From. In the search bar, you're going to search for Roop. Now, if you've heard of Roop, the reason you've heard of Roop is because it is a one-click deepfake software available on GitHub. This allows you to basically replace the face in a video just using one image, and the whole process is incredibly easy to use. As you see here, the example, the resolution's pretty low, but it is very effective, and you may have seen some of the example videos out there for this. You see here they've replaced Superman with John Cena. It's very effective even though the resolution of course is low, but remember this is a one-click deepfake software. Well, that technology has now been brought into Stable Diffusion in the Roop editing extension. So once you found Roop, just hit install. The process will take a few seconds or even a minute perhaps. And so once we've installed Roop as the extension, we reload the UI. You may find that you need to actually restart Stable Diffusion altogether in order to get Roop to show up just down here in the extensions section. So I've chosen the Azovia RBG Tools model. I set the SD-VE to automatic, and I've put in a basic prompt here for now. So we're just going to generate an image on its own without doing any deep faking to it, just so you can see what we start with. And now we've got this result, and as you can see it's pretty decent. Obviously I haven't run restore faces on here because we're going to be changing that in a moment. But in terms of the actual overall quality, a pretty decent generation. Now what we can do is we're going to change the face on this. So let's move this to image to image. So click send image to image. And now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to the extensions, to Roop. We're going to enable it, and we're going to drop in the image of the face that we want to actually turn our character into. And for this one, we're going to try John Cena, one of my favorite wrestlers, because if you believe it or not, I love world wrestling entertainment. Who'd have thought? We can leave this as 0. A restore face can be either code format or GFP GAN. I've not noticed a difference there with either of them. Restore visibility is how strongly it's going to actually resemble this face, and you can even upscale as well if you want to. Want to leave it ticked with swap in generated image, and actually we better also check our denoising strength. We don't want that too high or the image will not represent the original. So let's go to 0.3 to start with, and if we hit generate, process will take a little bit longer to pop the face in on top of this character. And now we will have our result, and if we click on it and have a look, there we are. It is of course John Cena. It looks very, very realistic, and actually a pretty good blend of his face with this character. All done with one simple image. No complicated models or LoRAs. And we've actually managed to put John Cena into our image. Now you can actually do this with any image you're creating. So this could be a very quick way for you to be able to actually have consistent characters in your images. We can of course swap out John Cena for anybody. Let's try this with Elon Musk. Now this image here was a little overexposed, so we are probably pushing Roop to its limits, but let's see what happens as a result. And look at that, even then, it actually looks really brilliant. We could tell that that is Elon Musk as a Viking warrior. Now, of course, I would love nothing more than to put my own picture into this Stable Diffusion generation. However, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work too well with animals, I'm afraid. And so you are going to have to stick to human faces. And of course, as I said, it works with all sorts of human faces. We've just created this image here of a female Viking. We can pop that to image. Let's make this one look like Angelina Jolie. And look at that, with one single image, we've actually got a Viking looking quite similar to Angelina Jolie. Now, one thing that's worth pointing out is that, depending on the image you put in, the face can actually look maybe a little bit too realistic. We can see here it looks very photographic compared to the more painted style that we're seeing in the rest of the image. Now, a trick to get around this is actually to run your face through image to image on its own with a very low denoising strength to create a more painted look. Now, you don't even have to do all of this in the image to image tab. You can do it right here in text to image as well. To do that, you make sure you have your prompt. Right now I'm using the dynamic prompts extension. I can do a separate video about that if you guys would like to know how to make use of it. And then you go to Roop, and you can drop your image in here. Hit enable. Again, make sure you've got all your settings right. If you're worried about this blending in, like I said, you can create a painted version, or you can also reduce the visibility. So about 0.8 could help. We then hit generate, and using the dynamic prompts, it will automatically create a random prompt for this image. And then Roop should put in Angelina Jolie's face. And this quite possibly is the most scariest looking picture I've ever generated in Stable Diffusion yet. Phew, that's a little bit more palatable to look at. But I'm going to get to the real question, the one that I think you're all going to be asking. Does this work for anime waifus? Well, no, not really, I'm afraid. Sorry, it doesn't. I'm afraid for now you're going to have to stick to realistic or semi-realistic images. But still, being able to create these deepfake kind of images and art, being able to put yourself into your own Stable Diffusion generations is pretty groundbreaking. And I'm pretty sure that somebody in the community is going to go ahead and fix that waifu effect that you lot are probably after. You filthy lot. I hope that you found this video really useful. If you did, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and of course like the video too. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, see you later, prompt engineers.